Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and before we start, I want to apologize once again for the humming in the background. Not much that can be done about it. But that said, we're going to do this special Tuesday video, which I had not planned to do, but I keep getting emails about this and emails about this. I keep getting comments. Why haven't you talked about this? And I figure, okay, I'm going to throw my 2 cents on this. I'm a day late and $1 short to the conversation, but what the heck. So as you are reading this email on the side, you probably know what this is about. This is about Uber announcing that they would no longer be paying for driver referrals. Now, keep in mind, when you say driver referrals, we're actually talking about rider referrals. We're talking about drivers referring riders to the Uber platform. It used to be where, like, if the driver suggested Uber to someone and they used the referral code, the driver would get like $10. Not a big deal, really. I mean, what's $10 in the grand scheme of things? But Uber has since now come out and they have stated that that will no longer be the case. Now they will be giving ride credit, which here's the thing. If you are an Uber driver, chances are you don't need those Uber ride credits very much. You've got a car. Now, that's not saying you would never use Uber. I had to use Uber and Lyft a couple times for like airport runs, obviously. But the question is, why is Uber doing this? And people have thrown out a lot of suggestions, most of which are pretty interesting and pretty good. I can't fault them too much for them. One of the suggestions is, hey, if Uber gives rider referral credits that they know drivers are never going to use or very unlikely to use, they might never use them. Okay, that makes sense. Or maybe they're giving rider credits because, hey, if the drivers eventually need them, maybe they'll wait so long they can expire. We don't know if this is going to expire or not. Yeah, that makes sense too. But I think there's one major reason, a key reason, and it's not just that Uber needs to tighten their belt more. We're seeing them more and more cutting back on where they spend. Rider referrals, some people might even be looking at like, well, I guess this is going to save them another couple $1 million a month. But the thing is, I don't think that's really the case. I mean, yeah, it will save them something, but I think they're changing it because they just don't need to have it anymore. I mean, think about it. Everyone knows what Uber is. Almost everyone has used it at least once. There's very few people who have not used this platform. And for those that are out there, why is Uber still paying money? Why are they? It doesn't make any sense for them, especially when they are trying to scale back on expenses. So here's my personal take. It's very simple. It's not complicated. Uber effectively doesn't need to pay referrals for riders anymore. They just don't. That's how it is. Everybody uses Uber. It's like trying to sell someone a smartphone who has never owned a smartphone before. Do you know how many people out there have not used a smartphone before? Not many. It's almost like selling a computer to someone who's never owned a computer. At this point in time, most people, including grandmothers, will have owned a computer. It's just not in the cards. It's not a thing anymore. So Uber's effectively taking away the promotion because it's just not necessary. And so many people use Uber without a referral that, yeah, it adds to the fact that, yeah, why are we still paying referrals for this? Everyone will use it. And if they haven't used it, they're going to use it at some point. It's inevitable. The taxi industry can't keep up with the growth of Uber and Lyft. So effectively, Uber just killed the system. They killed it because they could. It wasn't necessary for them anymore. And some have actually even asked me, does this mean they will eventually kill the driver referrals? Maybe. I mean, I would like to think they never would. I think at the very least they would lower the referrals. Like instead of paying $500 a month, they would pay $200. Which, by the way, when I get the odd occasional referral sign up, most of the time it's for $50. It's nothing. So Uber's already doing that. But Uber doesn't need to spend a lot of money referring drivers anymore. You know how many drivers they have? So this is another age of Uber scaling back the money that they're spending out. And it's mainly because they just don't need to do it anymore. Referrals are just that. They need people to get onto the service. They need people to use the service. I remember years ago when my mom got a call out of the blue, and it was from a little company that had some success, but they were trying to branch out nationwide a little bit more. And they said, hey, we're a company, we own this many locations, and we're trying to branch out and expand our presence. Would you like a free pizza? My mom said, sure. when could we have it? It's like, oh, you can have it anytime you want this week. And she said, well, you know what? We haven't made dinner yet, and I don't know what to make. Why don't we have it tonight? And they're like, okay, sure. What would you like? And of course, she got like a pepperoni pizza for us. That pizza company was from Papa John's. Now, the funny thing about that is you wouldn't think of a company like Papa John's at one point having so few customers and so little respect. Well, not that they have a lot of respect now, but that they would actually be calling people house to house and saying, hey, do you want a free pizza? We're just going to give you a pizza. And the whole idea being that, you send the pizza and hopefully they like it enough that they will come and they will buy again. And considering how much Papa John's I've eaten, insert fat jokes below, I know they're coming. Well, it worked. It worked. That free pizza, yeah, they didn't make any money off of it at that point, but they gained pretty much a lifelong customer at that point. Well, that's what the whole referral thing for Uber was all about. You refer them, you give them their first couple rides free, and they become customers for life. But at this point, they don't need to do that anymore. Just like Papa John's does not need to call up a house and say, do you want a free pizza in hopes of eventually getting that customer, they assume that they will eventually have that customer one way or the other, and a typical sale would probably lure them in without them having to just give something away. And that's where Uber is. And the referral change, I think, has more to do with the fact that they don't need to do it, and they just want to discourage people. Like, what on earth is my incentive to give people free rides if all I'm going to get is a credit? There is none. There is absolutely none. So I'm not going to be referring people with an Uber code anymore. If someone has never used Uber before, it is not worth my time to send them a referral link for a credit that I may or may not ever use and will most likely never use because I don't use Uber anyway. I'll use Lyft. Or if I'm that desperate, I'll take a taxi. But that's part of the plan. They don't need the referrals anymore, but rather than just cut them out and say that, and it appears that they're just taking it away from us, they're just changing it. Hey, instead of giving $10 cash, you'll get $10 credit. And we, as the drivers, as the referrers, whatever we are, we will oblige. We will, on our own accord, not refer people to Uber anymore. And the people that we haven't referred to, they are eventually going to use Uber anyway. And Uber knows this because they don't need that, incentive anymore. The driver referrals will probably go away at some point as well. At some point, you have enough desperate people who want to make extra money. Why pay out a referral bonus? Why? I mean, I think those are safe for a little bit longer, but they might be on the way out too. I'm not going to say it's going to happen today. I'm not going to say it's going to happen tomorrow. But let me again, when I get a rare sign up through my referral link, it's like $50, and most of the time those people don't even bother. And you know what? I bet you Uber doesn't even care because they don't need the drivers. They just don't. Much like they don't need the riders anymore. They've got so many riders that there's no reason to spend money to get new ones. No reason at all. So that is why I think the referral has changed. Uber doesn't need it anymore. But rather than just cutting it off, making it look like they're screwing us, they're just going to change the terms. We will voluntarily stop referring people, and then Uber can take away the referral thing. And at that point, it would have been so useless to us. Like, we haven't been referring people for months now, so why are we even going to complain if it's going to go away? And that is what I believe is happening. It's really not any more complicated than that. And yet, I almost spent 10 minutes talking about it because you would think after 2 years and over 1,000 videos, I would find a way to make these videos shorter, and yet I don't. What is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? Well, anyway, that's my thoughts. What about you? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Are you going to be referring people to Uber with your referral code, knowing that you're not getting your $10 anymore, but you're simply getting a rider's credit? And hey, shot in the dark, are you one of the few that actually like the change? Do you prefer to get the Uber rider's credit rather than the money? I would love to know. So, comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, of course, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to help the channel run smoothly. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.